We're about to bring the Atari Jaguar from the 1990s into the 2020s by giving it two simple but powerful add-ons. And unlike collecting cartridges and discs for the Atari Jaguar and CD add-on, you won't have to harvest and sell any of your internal organs to be able to afford them. First on the list, the Jaguar game drive from Retro HQ. My friends over at Stone Age Gamer provided this and the other items so that we could check them out together on the channel. This is the Deluxe Edition, which is covered by a 2-year warranty, includes the case, a printed manual, and some stickers. This cartridge is awesome because it lets you load Jaguar gaming content on a microSD card and play them on native Jaguar hardware. If you've ever looked at the back of an Atari Jaguar, you know it's not easy to hook it up to modern displays. This is where the Jag to HD adapter comes in. It connects directly to those two fingerboards that are on the back of the Atari Jaguar system. You can then use it for things like S-video output, 9-pin DIN video output and audio output, or the one that will get you connected to modern displays, HDMI at 1280 by 720 resolution for full 720p video output in either 4:3 or 16:9 aspect ratios. Oh yeah, and one more thing. They also have these really cool 3D printed Atari Jaguar cartridge stands that you can use to display your favorite games. The links to all three of these accessories at the Stone Age Gamer website are linked for you in the video description. Now that you've seen these awesome accessories for the Atari Jaguar, let's put them to the test. One of the many great features of the Jaguar game drive is not only is it firmware updatable, it continues to receive firmware updates even today. Start by inserting the Atari Jaguar game drive into the Atari Jaguar's cartridge slot. Then insert a FAT or FAT32 formatted microSD card into the Jaguar game drive. Holding the option button on the Jaguar controller while pressing the power button on the system will show you a screen similar to this. This screen can be different for every Atari Jaguar owner depending upon the firmware on the game drive at the time that it's checked. If the firmware version on the game drive is not up to date, the website that you were shown previously during the option mode will allow you to download the most recent version of the firmware for the Jaguar game drive. Then it's just a matter of removing the microSD card from the game drive and inserting it into a card reader on your computer. I like to copy files like things are read in the United States, from left to right. So I'm going to grab the empty window for the microSD card and snap it into place on the right side of the screen. From here, I'll open a new File Explorer window for the Downloads folder. Then I'll take it and snap it over to the left side of the screen into place. From here, you can copy the firmware file directly over to the root of the microSD card. Then remove the microSD card from the computer, put it back in the game drive, and power on the Jaguar. The firmware will be updated to the most recent version. Then the game drive will load its main menu. This will get the game drive updated and up and running, but as you can see here, there aren't any games on it yet. Let's fix that. Once again, remove the microSD card from the game drive and put it back in the computer. Another great feature of the game drive is that you get 5 free licensed Jaguar games with your purchase. You get the download link for them with the email receipt that you receive from Stone Age Gamer. In addition, the Retro HQ website also has a download link for a series of incredible freeware homebrew games that you can download and install on the Jaguar game drive's microSD card. But I think the most exciting development in all of Atari Jaguar homebrew is the ability to play ports of Atari ST games using the game drive. This is not through emulation, these are genuine port overs from the original Atari ST software playable on your Jaguar. Alright, let's get some content copied over to the micro SD card. I'm going to delete the firmware file as it's already installed and permanent on the game drive. Once the firmware file is deleted, just like before, I like to copy things from left to right. So I'm going to bring that empty window back over to the right side of the screen and snap it into place. For this demonstration, I've already downloaded everything that I can conceive of that you can put on this micro SD card. So I'm going to open up this folder called Demo here. I have these folders split into 5 different categories. The first folder is the library of the official Jaguar game releases from back in the day. These are in .jag format, but you can use several different file extensions for these types of games. The next one is Jaguar CD. In this case, it has to be specifically this JCD format of file. Fortunately, these are very easy to find online. Next up, here are the 5 games that are included in what's called the Atari Jaguar Game Pack that you get with the game drive from Stone Age Gamer. Note that these are in .j64 format, but they work just as well as the .jag format files and vice versa. Next up, let's take a look at the Reboot Pack from Retro HQ. You'll find 2 types of files inside this folder. The first one are .rom or .rom file extension files, and they work just as well once again as J64 and .jag files. And the other are called MRQ files. These are marquee images to show art for the games inside the game drive menu. And last, and certainly not least, are Atari ST games. Again, you're going to find two types of files inside this folder. One of them is .rom files, and the other is .mrq, so that you can have marquee files for these games as well. You can put your games in any type of subfolder structure that you like, and the game drive will be able to read them. From here, it's just a simple matter of highlighting all of the subfolders that you've created with all of your game content, and then just drag and drop everything right onto the root of the micro SD card for the Jaguar game drive. Now that the firmware is updated and the content copied over to the micro SD card, you're done with the computer. You can close out any open instances of File Explorer at this point, remove the micro SD card from the computer, put it back in the game drive, and fire up the Jag. This time, when the Jaguar boots up with the game drive and micro SD card in place, you'll see all of the subfolders that you've installed to the micro SD card. Okay, now that everything is set up and you're looking at the Jaguar output over HDMI at 720p resolution, let's try out some games. Starting with the original Jaguar library. I'm a big fan of Tempest 2000, and I think it's one of those games that most people that play the Jaguar are well familiar with. So I'm going to scroll down here through the listings until I get to the one for Tempest 2000, and then select it with the B button. This is what games like this look like loading in real time. It only took about 8 seconds to load the game and boot it up on the Jaguar. The Jag to HD adapter does an incredible job of upscaling and outputting HDMI video from this 30-year-old game system. The graphics have a nice, clean, sharp look to them, and the audio sounds great coming through HDMI. I've had a long-standing saying on this channel that what gets made easy gets done, and using the Jag to HD adapter for video and audio, along with the game drive and micro SD to load content, is the fastest, easiest way I know of to enjoy playing games on the Jag. Next on the list, let's take a look at some Jag CD content. I'm going to use the game Primal Rage as it's one that I'm familiar with, and it's a really great game on the Jag CD platform. If you think that a game cartridge loaded fast, take a look at this. The Jag CD loads up nearly instantly. This is a far superior way of playing Jaguar CD games on real hardware without introducing the super unreliable and extremely expensive Jag CD add-on. Primal Rage is one of those fighting games that doesn't always get the love that it deserves, but it's an outstanding 1 or 2 player fighting game. The game drive can't yet play all of the Jag CD titles, but every time there's a firmware update, it typically introduces the ability to play 1 or 2 more Jag CD games on the game drive, which is awesome. It's great to see that this product continues to get ongoing support. Next on the list, let's take a look at one of the games that actually comes with the Jaguar game drive as a digital download. Evolution Dino Dudes. It's one of the original cartridge-based games that was released for the Jaguar back in the day, and now with the game drive, you get a digital copy of this game included with your purchase. It's a super fun puzzle game where you take cavemen and strategically place them throughout level designs in order to reach a specific goal or destination on each of the levels. It's awesome that this game is available with the Jag game drive because it follows the principles of great game design. Easy to learn, but hard to master. Pair that with the Jag to HD adapter and a quality HDMI cable, and this game has never looked as good as it does today. But it's not the original titles that were out for the Jaguar 30 years ago that make it not suck today. It's the content that's being produced in the modern era, especially from the homebrew scene. Remember how some of the folders had these .mrq extension files? I'm going to load up a game here called 𝐃𝐈𝐒𝐂𝐋𝐎, a direct reference to Star Trek that plays a lot like the original arcade game Time Pilot. Mixed in with the game ROMs, this is an example of what you get by adding the MRQ files. You can see artwork for the games on the right side of the screen, adding to the overall appearance of the game drive interface. By the way, I have an admission to make. I never took the 𝐃𝐈𝐒𝐂𝐋𝐎 test until now. What do you think of my solution? If only I knew how to change the conditions of the test, I have no doubt I'd receive a commendation for original thinking. To me, the most fascinating... Hey, that's another Spock reference. The most fascinating piece of content that you can put on the game drive are the ports of the Atari ST computer games to play on the Jaguar. For example, I'm going to load up this great arcade port of the game Gauntlet 2 that was originally for the Atari ST and has been ported over to work on the Jaguar. Just like loading an official Jaguar title, These games load very quickly when paired with the game drive and a micro SD card. This isn't emulation. These games are legitimately ported over right from the Atari ST software to work on the Atari Jaguar on the 68,000 16-bit processor inside the Jaguar. It's actually that very same 68,000 processor that ultimately became kind of an Achilles heel for the Jaguar, because those other chips were very difficult to program for, and programmers of the era understood how to write code for the 68,000 16-bit processor. A lot of designers basically bypassed the high-end hardware on the Jaguar and just ported over or coded for things that they already knew, like the 68,000 language. But while it might have been a crutch back then, it's a tremendous benefit now because it opens up a whole new type of content that was never available to play on the Jaguar when it was new all those years ago. You can grab the game drive and the Jack to HD adapter from Stone Age Gamer at the links in the description. And if you really want to level up this and your other HDMI connected setup, check out the More 4K at this video shown on screen and linked in the description and pinned comment.